like she said, my name's Mariah. I am AIC's admissions counselor for the Springfield and Holyoke area, so I would be all of your admissions counselors if you do choose to apply to AIC. This is Abby. She is one of our assistant directors of undergraduate admissions at AIC as well. And so just before we jump into everything, is everybody a senior in the room, or do we have any juniors? Seniors or juniors with the hands up? Juniors. All right, perfect. So you guys still have a little bit of time to think about it. That's awesome. So I just wanted to briefly mention that handout that you guys got that says you're invited. So we are having an open house at AIC on October 16th. So the entire campus will be open. We'll have faculty and staff members to show everybody around. You can go in and see the classrooms, ask questions, and kind of get a vibe for the campus. On that day, we also have our homecoming football game, so that's something cool that you guys would be able to go see as well. Our whole sports side of the campus and an actual game, so that's kind of a cool experience that we're doing on the same day. But other than that, a little bit about AIC. So our general admissions requirements are, for everybody incoming, we are looking for a 2.0 minimum GPA. And that is your baseline. So we have certain programs that go upwards in GPA value if you're looking for a specific health science major. What kind of majors are you guys looking or interested in majoring in? Neuroscience. Or neuroscience. Did I hear a nursing? Nursing, cool. What else?
Business.
Business,
yeah.
Pretty cool. So for that business major, that's going to be your 2.0 general GPA. But for the health sciences like nursing, we're going to have a GPA of a 2.8, just because the course is a little more rigorous, and we'll also have a requirement that you get at least a C+ in chemistry. If you haven't taken chemistry already, it's a good idea to get that done if you're still a junior, or if you don't have the opportunity to do it before you graduate. We do have a lot of students who go to community colleges during the summer as well to get that chemistry course. But that's just a little bit about the requirements for nursing. Other than that, in order to apply to AIC, it's super easy. All we really need from you is your high school transcript. And everything else on the application is optional. So we do accept your test scores if you're doing ACTs or SATs. And we also accept personal statements and letters of recommendation, but they aren't going to hold you back if you don't have that. So all we really need for you to apply is that college or that high school transcript. And then some more stuff about applying. You're always going to want to do your FAFSA. So does everybody know what the FAFSA is? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Does anybody not know what the FAFSA is? Not know what it does? All right, perfect. So the FAFSA is the federal application, or the free application for federal student aid. And what it does is it gives you kind of an estimate on how much you're able to pay for college, and it gives you options for payment. So by filling out your FAFSA, you'll get options for scholarships and grants and work study eligibility. So it's really important to fill out your FAFSA in order to get your costs down. When you're looking at tuition and fees and stuff, the FAFSA is going to be pretty much your best friend. Other than that, AIC also offers merit scholarships. So every single student who applies is automatically going to get a merit scholarship. So the merit scholarship is something that you don't have to pay back. So it's free money right off the bat. And our scholarships range anywhere from $12,000 to $22,000, and that's all based on your GPA when you apply. So if you were to have that baseline 2.0 GPA, you would be getting that $12,000 scholarship, and the higher your GPA goes, the more scholarship money you're able to get. So those are split between your 2 semesters. So if you were to get your top scholarship of $22,000, it would be $11,000 per semester, and you get that for all 4 years that you're at AIC as well. Am I missing anything over there?
No, you're killing it.
All right, awesome. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've thrown at you so far? About applying or about, sure?
Okay, so I'm interested in neuroscience, taking neuroscience. I see that you guys don't have a specific neuroscience program, so what would you guys recommend for me to want to major in?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so a lot of our students who are looking to eventually go into medical school end up doing our human biology program or even our general biology program. Both of those programs will allow you to take biology courses, chemistry courses. We also have biochem courses that some students tend to take, and also taking math courses like calculus and trigonometry and so on that will assist you in medical school. And we have a pre-med track. So what that means is that you'll be working with an advisor to make sure that you're taking classes that will help you qualify for medical school. They'll also make sure that you're filling out the applications on time, you're taking the necessary tests for medical school eligibility. So yes, we don't have a neuroscience major for the undergraduate level for a bachelor's degree, but that tends to happen, or you tend to get that degree when you're in medical school and you graduate at that point. So our human biology or general biology both help our students in that aspect. That's a great question.
Any other questions about anything that we've talked about? Sure.
How much is housing?
Housing. Okay, so housing changes a little bit every year, but you're probably looking at an additional, so housing and a meal plan are grouped together. So if you're living on campus, which most likely none of you would have to because you live in the 30-mile radius from AIC, but if you do choose to live on campus, housing is probably going to run you about $7,000 more a year, plus your meal plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
what would it be
like $15,000 in addition to the tuition. Tuition is about, this past year is around $38,000. So if you do the $38,000 as a commuter student, plus if you want to live on campus, that'll be around $52,000, $53,000. Mariah did talk about the merit scholarships, so nobody pays the full amount, whether you're a commuter student or residential student, because you automatically get a scholarship. And like you said, the higher your GPA, the more money that you can get. A lot of our students qualify for a lot of aid within FAFSA, so that federal money, the additional grants, scholarships, and even possible loans if that's something that you eventually like to do. Not many students do, because we know that loans you have to pay back, but it is an option to help and assist. We generally see students, we don't have one kind of student, so we have a lot of different students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, but I've worked with students within the Springfield Holyoke area, and I've seen them pay maybe nothing out of pocket, or $3,000 a year out of pocket, or $5,000, $10,000. It really just depends on those additional aids. And then scholarships too. Any scholarships that you can apply to that are through your school, through your community organizations, if you're a part of any, even religious organizations or any athletics too, that definitely assists. And we know that scholarships are open now. Some of them have deadlines. I know some tend to close in November, December, January, so definitely take a look at that too, for sure.
Yeah, definitely do everything as early as possible, and if you are planning on applying to things early, like for example, AIC doesn't have a strict deadline. We have a rolling admission here at AIC, so you can essentially apply up until the week that classes start. But we do highly recommend you apply early, because then you can get your FAFSA done and you can get your FAFSA into us and see kind of what your financial aid package would be looking like, so that you can seek out more scholarship opportunities or talk to us more about how we can help you and figure out how to cover the cost of your bill. So doing everything really early is probably a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But again, nobody sees anywhere near the top costs that are listed on our website and everything. All right. Other than that,
question.
Sure.
What is the down payment? So right when you...
Yeah, no problem. So we don't have a real down payment. You don't have to put a down payment on classes or anything. When you agree to go to AIC, you do a deposit. It's just $200, and that's not any additional money or anything. That's just $200 going toward your tuition. So that $200 just says, hey, I'm coming to AIC, hold my spot. And then for your actual rest of your bill, you would set up a payment plan, and based on how much your scholarships and your loans cover, then you would set up payment plans to go every month from there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Any other questions?
I do want to add that deposit is $200. We generally have a deadline for that on May 1st, so that's our national deadline. So most of the schools in the entire country have that deadline. If you cannot meet the $200 by May 1st, we understand that there are a lot of things going on, especially your second semester senior year during that time that costs money. Then, just reach out to Mariah. Again, she's your admissions counselor, and she'll talk to our director and see what we can do. We've been able to give some extensions to students for that payment, that $200 payment. If you end up applying to AIC after May 1st, then we typically give you 30 days to make that deadline, that commitment for the $200. And we've seen students apply a week before class. So if you do that, we usually say we can't do anything in terms of creating your class schedule or giving you additional information for classes until you make that deposit, so as soon as possible at that point. Yes?
I actually have one more.
Sure.
How long does it take you guys to tell us that we got accepted?
As long as your transcript is in, it doesn't take very long at all. We can review an application within a couple minutes. We actually do some instant application days. I'm not sure if we'll be doing any over here at Holyoke High, but that's definitely an option. But your application will be reviewed very soon after you submit it.
Yeah. Depend if.
Cheryl, but the instant application day that she's talking about, there might be some juniors in the room, and this is for seniors, but we do it every year. We're going to be talking about this at our senior assemblies, which is the first week of October, but we have the Mass College Application Celebration, where usually AIC and a lot of other schools, mostly local, come, and they meet with students one-on-one, and they offer you an on-the-spot acceptance as long as you've completed your application. Mm-hmm. We give them a copy of your transcript, and they often let you know, some of the colleges let you know also how much money you're going to get in merit scholarships. Mm-hmm. And so seniors, pay attention, because we'll be asking you to sign up for slots with colleges. That'll happen November 18th and 19th.
Awesome, thank you.
But yeah, usually your application can get reviewed within like the week that you submit it. Anybody else have any questions? I know you guys are heading out. That's no problem. Good luck, guys. We do. Men's and women's.
We're Division 2, men's and women's. The men's program just started this year, so it's really exciting. Sorry.
That's fine. Just a little bit more about sports. We have basically every single sport that you could want to play. We have like regular, like your varsity sports, which would be basically all of the sports, and then we have some club sports. So we have rugby and soccer, and we also have intramurals. Like if you want to do like bowling or something fun like that, we always offer every single kind of like extracurricular activity sport that you can do.
You can have kickball.
We do have
team.
kickball.
Yeah.
And then we also have a whole bunch of clubs on campus. We have over 30 clubs, whether they be like representing like different ethnicities or backgrounds, or we have, bless you, we have like student government and political kind of clubs. We have outdoors clubs, dancing, cheerleading. And if you don't have a club on campus that you think you would like to join, you can always create one as well, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But that kind of wraps up our little intro to AIC. Does anybody have any more questions?
Do you tend to give the best financial aid to those people that are applying earlier in the cycle?
The FAFSA, so our financial aid is strictly just the merit scholarships. I know for a fact that the FAFSA does allocate more money like to those students who are like first, because it is a first come first served basis. So it is like it's not confirmed that they'll get more money if they apply earlier, but it is like a higher possibility that the FAFSA will be like more helpful to them the earlier they apply.
It really depends on what they qualify for.
Yeah.
Like the Massachusetts grant, a Mass grant. If they don't fill out their FAFSA before May 1st, then they wouldn't qualify for the Mass grant.
Yeah.
We do have an additional grant for students based on their income, based on the FAFSA's information. That is a first come first served, because we do have allocated amount there, but usually students who need it do get some money, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the good thing about the merit scholarships is that there aren't any deadlines for it. It's always a set amount. It's guaranteed for 4 years. If you come in your first year with us, and you don't have to do anything additional. You just, as long as you're accepted into the program, we use your GPA to give you that scholarship. We use the GPA that you have when you apply. So that's a big thing, because if your GPA is fluctuating, by the time you graduate, if it's different than when you applied, we don't give you more aid, but we also don't take any money away because we use that first GPA. And then you don't need to keep a certain GPA while you're at AIC to keep that amount either. So it's not, it's really automatic. We just add it to your bill every single semester. So you know that's always a solid constant. Sure.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah.
All right.
I did have another one, and I totally.
It happens.
That's okay. Well, if anybody thinks of anything that they might need, I am your admissions counselor. My contact information is right on that front table. You can reach out to me with any questions about the college or just applying, or if you have questions about like the FAFSA, I can help you with any part of the application process, even if it's not a question specifically for our college.
Yes.
Can you share what competitive majors you have that are harder to be in addition to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are typically going to be like our health science majors because they have increased GPA requirements. So like I said, nursing has a requirement of 2.8. We also have occupational therapy that has a requirement of 2.8. Exercise science is a 2.7 GPA. And then our physical therapy program is going to be the hardest to get into, which is a 3.2.
Mm-hmm. And even though we have that requirement, that GPA requirement, we're also looking at your science classes and your math courses specifically for those health sciences. So we want to see that you're a strong student overall. And we're also looking at your English classes primarily because you're going to be taking a ton of science classes, a ton of math classes, and you're going to be writing a lot. So we want to make sure that you have a decent foundation to succeed in those programs. The good thing about us, too, is that we understand that some students go through hardships while they're in high school, and they may not have been able to show, in grades how they are as a student academically. So we have pre-programs that if you don't meet the GPA requirements for our health sciences, or you don't meet those science or math courses, then we can put you into a pre-program depending on the GPA. So PT, so our physical therapy is a 3.2, and our occupational therapy is 2.8. If you fall between a 2.5 and a 2.8, then you can go into our pre-health science program. Take a year within that program. You're taking science classes and math classes that you would need for occupational therapy or physical therapy, and if you meet the GPA requirement at the end of that year, you're automatically entered into the occupational therapy and physical therapy program. Same thing with nursing. So if you have a 2.5, between a 2.5 and a 2.8, 2.7 really, then you would qualify for pre-nursing. And then same thing, take that whole full year. If you meet the 2.8 requirement at the end and you meet your science classes at that point, then you're automatically into the nursing program. So we try to be as accessible as possible, but they are still competitive as well. Yes?
So let's say like you said you guys are looking at like our math classes and stuff. Let's say like they're like, I'm not gonna say bad, but they're not like so good.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have like a higher GPA that's qualified. Do you guys like push that aside and then look at your GPA, or do you guys still look at it?
We look at it holistically, so we're looking at different things. We're looking at trends also, like maybe your math courses are a little low now, but maybe you were doing really strongly beforehand, or maybe you're doing poorly before and now you're getting stronger. So we're looking at each individual person, and we're not comparing you to other students. So it just really depends. If your GPA is really high and you have a low math grade, again, we're looking at all the maths, we're looking at all the sciences. We understand that science classes also incorporate math. So we're taking a look at that. So your GPA may be more helpful at that point, but then vice versa. If your GPA is pretty low, but you have really strong math, science classes, even English classes, then we'll take that into consideration, for sure. Yep.
All right.
Great.
Awesome question.
Perfect. And I just want to say again, that open house, we have 2 of them. The first one's October 16th. I highly suggest going there. You'll have an opportunity to look at the campus if you haven't already. But like Mariah mentioned earlier, you'll see our faculty and our students on campus. You'll see the faculty for the programs that you're interested in, and they'll actually show you the classroom spaces. They'll tell you what our students are doing, and they might bring students along too to show you, especially for our health sciences. They're going to be showing you how they use the lab spaces. which are really, really cool. We have new buildings for our health sciences. If you're not into health science, we're also going to be showing you our classrooms. They just don't have physical labs, but they're going to be talking about the internships the students have been doing. Alums are going to be coming back to because it is homecoming, and they'll be available. The football game is going to be free for anyone who registers and goes to our open house. So it'll be you, your families, whoever your guests are, will get free tickets to that game. It's really fun. Again, it's homecoming, so there's going to be a lot of alumni, a lot of people there, so you'll really understand like what it means to be a student at AIC and like the spirit behind AIC, which is really, really fun. And we're giving out a ton of free stuff too. So it's a free event. You can bring your guests and you'll get food. So it's really fun there. And then we're also doing a Fall Fest the Sunday after our open house. So Fall Fest is a new event for us, but we want to bring the community onto our campus and just show you what's on campus. So it's really just a low-key event. We're going to have really cool, fun activities for families, and you get to hang out in our quad. We're going to be playing music. If you want to see some of our buildings, we'll show you some of our buildings. But it's not a scheduled event. It's just for you to kind of just, walk into AIC and be like, oh, cool. And, I've never been in here. I've always walked by this, or I've always driven by it. I don't know what it looks like. So definitely check out our website for more details on it. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Perfect.
No more questions?
No?
All right. Well, you guys are, one in the back.
You gotta be vaccinated.
Right now, yes. So AIC, as most of the colleges in the area, has a vaccination requirement. You are able to get a religious or medical exemption if you qualify for one, but we're not 100% sure what it will be like for next year. I would just assume at this point that we still will have a vaccination requirement. Mm-hmm. But you can get a religious exemption if you were to get a document signed by a church member, or if you have a medical exemption from your doctor, that you can submit that as well.
Mm-hmm. But for our events, you don't need to be vaccinated.
Yes.
We're asking that all of our guests wear masks indoors and outdoors, though. And we do have a COVID screening questionnaire that we'll send out beforehand, just to make sure that if you have any symptoms that you don't come onto campus, but we are going to be using it for contact tracing. Great question.
All right.
Yeah, I think those who that have been to other visits, it's pretty common. Most colleges are requiring the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
All of the publics are.
Right. Yeah. And it's not just for our safety on our campuses, but a lot of students are going out for internships and clinicals. And some of those facilities do require the vaccination, so we want to make sure that you still qualify for those internship opportunities, and have a whole list of opportunities there. For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for having us. It was really great to meet you.
Thank you.
We hope to see you on campus.
Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to grab my contact info, and I will be your best resource.